Hey, this is John from Pine Comics, and if my co-host Lloyd was here, he would tell you a couple things about this show. Number one, we swear way too fucking much. And number two, we drop spoilers without any warning. Now that you know that, listen in and enjoy the show.
Officer Hawkins, tell me, what happened in here? Tell me what happened. Did Michael kill? Did Michael kill again?
All right, welcome back to another episode of Pine Comics. It's Halloween extravaganza, apparently. Every week now we only cover Halloween movies. That's what it feels like all of a sudden. Again, I'm John. Back with me is Stu. Stu was here last week. We talked about Halloween Resurrection. It was a trash, tolerable, or treasure episode. I gave it a tolerable. Stu hit it with a trash. But this isn't a trash episode, but it is a trash episode.
I was going to say you might disagree with that.
We'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, we got a first time guest on the actual audio podcast. We got Mrs. Stu. We got Amanda here. What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I feel like I want to call you Stu too, but I won't.
Don't call me Stu.
All right, perfect. Okay. Has someone ever tried that with you? Like, oh, he's Stu, you're Amanda Stewart, so let's go with Stu for her as well.
No, that's the first time. No.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I was able to be the first to do that and get that out of the way. Got to ask real quick, Stu, because I'm so far behind on paying attention to NFL stuff, but Stu is from Pittsburgh, lives in Pittsburgh his whole life, but he's a fucking Seahawks fan.
I am.
And your Seahawks just got beaten by your hometown team.
So it doesn't count. They lost in overtime without Russell Wilson and on our fourth string running back.
Okay,
so I take solace in knowing that if we were at full health, we would have won that game.
But will that count at the end of the year, like when the championship rounds happen and the Super Bowl happens? Are they going to say that doesn't count then or no?
No, we're going to be bad this year no matter what, so that's fine. The only problem with being bad is we've already traded away our first round picks, so we get no benefit from being bad this year.
Okay. And Amanda, are you originally
the Jets get benefit from us being bad this year?
Are you originally from Seattle?
No, I'm actually originally from the Pittsburgh area, but I moved to Seattle for school, so I was out there for 10 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you like it out there?
Loved it.
Yeah. My sister lived in Portland, Oregon when I was younger, and she liked it a lot. But she said it rained so much, so much.
It's not just a stereotype. It really does rain that much.
She said it wasn't unusual where she worked, like if it wasn't raining, to see people like business people who would be working in an office to like be outside because like it's so fucking oppressive that like, hey, look, it's not raining for 8 minutes. I'm going to go outside and live my life.
Anytime family would come to visit me, like it's just, you have to understand, in the fall, spring, and winter, it's just a low-grade constant drizzle almost every day. And you just get used to it, right? So you're just like walking around living your life in this low-grade constant drizzle. And anytime family would come to visit me, they're like, but we don't have umbrellas. And I'm like, no, you're fine. It's fine. Go outside.
I honestly don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if I've ever used an umbrella in my life. Like, or owned an umbrella. Like I've used them. I'm sure I'm sure I was a second grader at one point, so I'm sure I had an umbrella. But like I don't know. As adults, you guys own umbrellas? I feel like I don't.
I do. Right. I definitely do. I use them.
I've never bought an umbrella. I just kind of come into ownership of them somehow. Like I'm sure she has bought umbrellas, and that's how I would have them. But I've never purchased an umbrella anywhere.
I only use the one that's big raining, though, not like, if it's sprinkling or whatever, but like gotta walk a couple blocks to get into a building and it's just pouring down rain and this hair doesn't work if it's wet. So
okay. Okay, I'm always fascinated by certain aspects of adulthood that I have not grasped onto, and the umbrella has just been completely like out of my league forever. I'll get soaked, I'll run places, I'll do whatever I got to do. Because the umbrella, to me, the few times I have used them, and I don't think I've touched an umbrella in years. They're always just waiting to get turned inside out. There's always that one wind gust. Like, why haven't they formed an umbrella yet that has some kind of like piston that can stop that from happening? You know, like a reinforced umbrella. This is what we need.
Like titanium bones and that
titanium,
thing.
Imagine. Okay, so my umbrella costs $1,000, but
it is not going to turn inside out.
It'll never turn inside out, and it's my umbrella for life. You know what I mean? So
I honestly, thinking about it, I think I've only really ever used umbrellas in the I'm approaching work scenario because I don't want to look like a wet rat all day. But like, yeah, if you're just running to the store, you just run in and get wet and run back out. But yeah, at like 3 jobs ago, I had to park several blocks away and I always had to walk. So if it was raining, I didn't want to go in looking terrible.
Have you ever felt the need, this is mostly like I think an 1800s woman thing, but have you ever felt the need at a beach to have a umbrella? Like, have you ever felt the sun umbrella?
Okay, so yes.
Okay.
It's because I go from a paper white sheet of paper shade to red burn. So
I understand that. And I understand the idea of like sitting like beachside or outside at a table with an umbrella. But have you ever gone full on mobile sun umbrella?
Oh no, I'm team floppy hat.
Okay, all right. That's what I was getting at. I was like, because sometimes you see the people with the umbrellas, and you're like,
like the camisole for shade.
Yeah, what the fuck
I was going to say, I thought that was a parasol.
Oh, a parasol, yeah, not a camisole. Sorry, yeah.
Camisole is like a negligee thing. Is that what that is?
Tank top, yeah, like under, yeah.
All right, more adult things I don't know about. All right, I do know this because we're here to talk about the latest installment in the Halloween Halloween, I guess, universe, because we're essentially on the 9th timeline. I think I counted right. This is Halloween Kills. It was released last week, October 15th of 2021. It was delayed for a whole year. Came out in theaters and streaming on Peacock, if you have the pay version of Peacock. Yeah, so this was supposed to come out last year. COVID obviously stymied that. People waited fervently for a year. Fervently. There's a lot of fans that waited for this thing. Now, I think the first thing we got to talk about before we get into anything else is, how did you guys feel about, I kind of know Stu, but I want to know Amanda as well, the 2018 Halloween, also titled Halloween, but in all actuality should be titled Halloween 2.
That was the one, the one that was prior to this, right? With Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay. I mean, I love horror movies, so like I will watch any horror movie, good, bad, and insufferable, and I will walk away from it, except what was that? Malignant, which was
terrible. That was garbage.
Terrible.
But agreed.
I enjoyed it just because I really like the franchise. I think other than maybe the Rob Zombie ones, I've enjoyed all the Halloween movies. He explains the timeline to me every time. He's like, okay, this one is in this universe where these things have happened, or this one is in this universe where these things never happened.
So all right, that's fair.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a departure, though, from what I wanted it to be. It wasn't just the normal slasher. It was, I don't know, the contraptions and the crazy grandmother and all that. It was too much plot. It was too much plot for a slasher.
All right, that's fair. Stu, I know how you feel about the movie, but why don't you kind of catch everybody up in terms of to where we're at with Halloween Kills? What happened in Halloween 2018, and how does it connect to the original Halloween movie?
So Halloween 2018 erased every other Halloween movie except for the original. If you take out Halloween 2, you're left with Michael and Laurie are not related anymore. He's just a killer who just happened to have entered her world. They're not related. They're just 2 individual people. So they're not siblings. Michael gets out of prison after some podcasters piss him off and wave his mask at him.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's hinted at, but not quite told yet that Laurie may have orchestrated his breakout, because she's watching him on the bus, and then all of a sudden you just see the bus was in an accident. So we don't know whether she caused it or not. But Michael gets out. He kills a bunch of people. Laurie has a daughter who's played by Judy Greer, who's awesome, and a granddaughter who's played by Andy Matichuk, who's kind of okay. And she has a boyfriend who dumps her at a dance. Oh boy, I didn't like 2018. Michael's doctor does a completely weird, nonsensical heel turn just to keep the movie going.
So fucking stupid. I remember seeing it in the theater and just going, Danny McBride, man, you're talented. Like, how? How did this get past? How did this one scene get past? Like, you could have made the doctor bad some other way and not as laughably bad as it was. How did this get past the editors? How did this get past people in the room? And they didn't go, man, that's going to get laughs and not the right kind of laughs.
There are things in movies sometimes where even if a movie's okay, one thing that is so bad will take me out of the movie and I'll never get back into it. And that was the Doctor heel turn in 2018. I just never got back into it. But the Doctor takes Michael to Laurie's house. Laurie has a big compound and has become a doomsday prepper. And she and Judy Greer and Andy Matichuk create this big trap thing, and they lock Michael in their basement and they set her house on fire. And Michael's going to die forever. He's going to burn down.
Except even then, we knew there was 2 sequels coming.
Yes.
Because this is
so not the end.
So Halloween being Halloween 2, Halloween Kills being Halloween 3, and then in a year from now, and I thought it was already done. I didn't realize that they haven't even filmed it yet. It gets filmed in January.
Oh, I thought it was filmed too. Huh.
No, it was not filmed yet. Halloween Ends. I saw this with the Manster and with our buddy Chris Frodell. We saw the first one 3 years ago, and we didn't like it. But we all said we're coming back for the next one, thinking it's a year later or 2 years later. And we stuck with our word, even though it was 3 years later. And even at the end of this one, and we'll get to it in the show, I'm not even going to lie about it. I hated this movie. We all hated the movie, and we all said we're coming back next year, though, aren't we? So it's like stubbing your toe repeatedly on purpose. I don't know why. Directed by David Gordon Green. He directed a Jonah Hill movie, The Sitter. And one of my favorite action comedies of many years, Pineapple Express. So we know he could do stuff that I like. Written by David Gordon Green again, who really, writing credit-wise, this Halloween trilogy is his kind of biggest thing. A guy named Scott Teems, who is writing or who wrote the upcoming Firestarter remake, which will be out next year. And the aforementioned Danny McBride, who we all know from Eastbound and Down and The Righteous Gemstones and Pineapple Express. Yeah, so these 3 guys wrote this stuff, and they did the whole trilogy together. Let's get into who stars in this thing. So you mentioned it. Jamie Lee Curtis is back as Laurie Strode. Funnily enough, in the last episode when we did Resurrection, which is on a different timeline than this, we made the joke that she was like in 8 minutes of the movie because she dies like 8 minutes in or 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
She's in this entire film. But she's still barely in 8 minutes of the movie.
No,
she's
they wrote her out of this pretty quickly. And it's one of the things Amanda liked about it is she suffers a very severe abdominal wound. And the movie doesn't say like, you just tape that up and get going. Like she has ramifications from that wound.
There's ramifications, but are there? Like she
still gets up and runs around. Like I had an abdominal surgery and I literally laid on my back for 2 solid weeks without
Yeah.
And I had blood grenades hanging out of me.
She had blood grenades.
Oh. At any point, did you take a syringe of something and jam it in your ass to like get going?
Oh, God. What was that movie? The Prometheus? Remember that? The woman had the C-section and just ran around, and the whole entire movie just bitched about that. Like, I don't even know what that movie was about. I was just yelling about that for an hour.
We covered Prometheus here maybe 2 years ago. And I'd seen the movie before, but we brought that up multiple times. Like she essentially had like a C-section, and she's like getting into fights in the movie. I'm like
jumping over canyons.
I'm pretty sure if she sneezed, she'd probably shit herself.
Yeah, she ripped that wide open.
That's right. She just jammed that syringe full of stuff in her ass, and she was good to go.
Good to go. Laurie Strode, good to go. We know Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, Trading Places. Judy Greer plays Karen, the daughter. As Stu mentioned, she's awesome. She was in Arrested Development and The Village. Andy Matichuk plays Allison, the granddaughter. Orange is the New Black, and a movie called Sun, which I've never seen. The Shape, Michael Myers. 3 different actors to play this guy. So yeah, James Jude Courtney plays the main version of The Shape. He's the one who you kind of see close cut haircut, gray hair.
He
Nick
looks like
Castle,
the guy from Don't Breathe.
He kind of
An
does,
old
yes.
man with white hair.
He kind of does. There's a scene where they even show him on the TV, but they blur it out. Did you notice that when they show Michael on TV? Nick Castle, who played Michael Myers in the first movie in 78, who also played Michael Myers for a couple scenes in the last one, does so again in this one. And then in the flashback in 1978, it's a totally different actor. They had to get a younger actor to play a guy in a mask. And I don't get that. But his name is Aaron Armstrong. Speaking of multiple roles, Officer Hawkins, played by Will Patton, who most people know from Armageddon. He was in the Swamp Thing TV show that got canceled before it started. The younger version of him was played by a guy named Thomas Mann, who the whole time he was on the screen, I kept going, how do I know who the fuck this guy is? It was driving me nuts. And I'm a big fan of Kong Skull Island, and he was one of the soldiers in that. And that's the only thing that he's like kind of known for. But like when I'm looking at him, I'm going, you ever do that? You see someone, you're like, I know this person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Amanda does that with like Tom Cruise
all the time. I'm so bad at actors.
Amanda doesn't know any actors.
I'm really bad at that.
This looks like the guy from Top Gun. It is the guy from Top Gun.
Sometimes I try to just on the sly look it up so I don't have to ask him, but sometimes I'm just like, who is that person?
Yeah, I waited till after the movie. I probably, if I had opened my phone during this movie, I probably would have gotten caught in a wormhole of like Facebook and Twitter. Anthony Michael Hall, who we all know from 16 Candles, Weird Science, and a whole bunch of stuff. He plays Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle was played by a different actor in the first movie, 78. He's replacing him as an adult.
Also, once played by Paul Rudd.
And once played by Paul Rudd in the horrifyingly bad Chapter 6, right? Now, Kyle Richards, who is been on Little House on the Prairie and Chips and a bunch of stuff as a kid, she's now one of like the Real Housewives. That's her thing. But she was, funnily enough, also Lindsay Wallace in the 78 version, and she's upping that role here. So this is the same girl who played her in the 78 version. Charles Cyphers, who played Sheriff Brackett in the original, is in this as well. He's old, man. He is old.
Real
old, like really bad. He was in Halloween and the Fog. This thing was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina between September 16th of 2019 and November 3rd of 2019.
That's our friends live there.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Told them to go crash this movie.
Go crash it. Make something good happen with it. So Stu, how do we open up with this thing?
Doesn't it open up in 1978? Because you're really expecting this movie to open with the fire, and it takes a solid 20 minutes to get to the fire and to find out how Michael gets out of that. It opens with 1978, and Michael just kind of walks away whenever he gets up from Laurie's backyard, and he kills another person. And no movie has ever said, and I believe in 2018, when the podcasters are there, they're like, you killed 4 people that night. And all of a sudden in Halloween Kills, he kills another cop. And I guess technically maybe they're getting away without it being part of his body count because the cop it's told to everyone that he died by accidentally shooting himself. But even in that fake story, he died by accidentally shooting himself because Michael was attacking him.
Right.
So how does this guy not count as part of Michael Myers' body count?
Amanda, did you feel like this flashback sequence was necessary? Or did you feel like
I liked it. I love those 70s and 80s horror slasher movies, so I kind of liked it.
Why did you like it?
Oh, Dr. Loomis, yes. I don't know if they CGI Dr. Loomis in, or I don't know if they took old footage of him.
Nope. It is an actor who looks just like, I thought it was CGI as well. I thought it was CGI as well.
We honest to God, we watched the movie and I was just tickled from the very, very beginning. And then on the whole call ride home, we just went, Michael, did you kill again? Just that whole thing was so over the top and so damn 80s. And I was like, I like it. I'm in. I'm all in. I don't even care. I'm all in.
So the whole plot of this movie, or the whole idea in this movie, is that Michael just wants to go home and look out his window. That's it.
Look out his window.
He never needed to kill anybody in the first place, apparently. They just needed... In fact, I don't think he would have killed his sister in the original movies if his parents had just swapped their bedrooms. He could have just looked out the window and no murder or whatever have been made.
He might have killed her simply for the fact that his parents made him go trick-or-treating. Michael, you have to go trick-or-treating. That's what normal kids do. And he's just like, I just want to go in my window. Go look out the window, man.
All he wanted.
It's a very important window.
So a couple cops follow him into the house, and they end up encountering him. And through plot machinations, he's about to kill one cop. The other cop decides to shoot and essentially kills the cop. As this ends, Loomis comes into and the guy is an actor who looks just like Donald Pleasance. This was the point where I felt like it wasn't just fan service, that they were just trying, they were trying to come up with the new, I shot him 6 times. I just thought, I don't know. I laughed at it, but I didn't think it fit. So he comes in and, Officer Hawkins, did Michael Myers kill again? And it's just this really melodramatic, shitty moment. And at that exact moment in the theater, I leaned over to Lloyd and said, I hate this fucking movie already.
It had no place being there, but people like me loved it. I loved it. I was just, it was so stupid and over the top. And it was just like, yep, that's it. I love it. That's an 80s slasher movie.
So I'll even give you that. But here's the question. How did you feel about Evil Dies Tonight?
Make Haddonfield great again.
Oh my Lord.
I don't know if they were, was it like trying to be political? Yes. I don't know. It was dumb. It was dumb. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, I think Stu in his review, I think, or maybe it was Larry in his review, had said, like, are they trying to have a serious conversation about like mob justice in this movie? Did you feel like they were trying to shove that down your throat?
Oh yeah. It was completely unnecessary. It was, at no point in a movie where Dr. Loomis comes in and says, did you kill again? Do we need to have a political conversation? Like, no, those two things do not need to be in the same movie. I thought that was probably, not probably, that was the dumbest thing in the movie for me. Also, that dude was like 5'4", and Mike Myers is like strong enough to like murder a whole squadron of firefighters, but they're like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah. So Michael comes out of the burning house and he takes on an entire squadron of firefighters who, as opposed to calling like a cop or a sheriff, they just gear up. They start getting their axes out and start pounding them in their hands, and they're ready to go.
And they line up one at a time to fight Michael.
The guy with the chainsaw gadget is just like, yeah, I'll wait, and I'll let you just turn this around and kill me.
Yeah.
Did you hear that is very controversial, though? Like, people are super pissed about that.
There's a change.org petition that I think they said it has like 4,000 signatures, but that people are pissed off because he kills firefighters, and obviously firefighters are...
You can kill a bunch of women, that's fine. It's totally fine to kill women.
Exactly.
But not firefighters.
The article I had read said the real people that should be pissed are the babysitters. You're right. Women are absolute disposable, but firefighters, being America's heroes, you can't do that. I thought it was stupid in the movie when he kills like this battalion of firefighters, because I think one of the things this movie and the last movie got wrong, especially connecting to the original Halloween, is that the original Halloween, there's no blood in it. The murders are, he's a murderer. They're terrible. He pins the guy to the wall, like, after picking him up. But, like, they're very subdued and kind of quick. He's so hyper violent in this one. There is a scene that I literally couldn't believe was in this movie when he kills the Lenny Clark, the comedian who's for the Boston comedian who's pretty famous. He plays the older couple with the drone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He puts every knife in a butcher block of like 9 knives into him over and over again. Like, as a fan of the Halloween franchise, Stu, do you look at stuff like that and go, oh man, like, we're not even trying to make this either scary or actually good. We're just trying to live up to the Halloween Kills name. You know what I mean?
For as little sense as this might make, I told Amanda when we were driving home, something about this movie was tickling me wrong, where Michael has always killed people, and I get that. In all the different timelines he's killed people, it's fine. But he's always just kind of been, he just kills because he can or because he wants to. He oddly seemed angry in this movie. And I don't know why that's different. I don't know how that's different than a normal Halloween movie, but he just seemed like he was just pissed off at everyone in this one. Like, he seemed more emotional. Like, he's usually this blank slate. He's an unstoppable force who kills because he just does. In this movie, he was like, I fucking hate you people. I'm going to get you.
He's super mad. I mean, and to counteract that, I think that what they try to do with this movie is they're trying to make this the movie where the victims get their moment, right? Because that's what a heavy part of this movie is. It's the mobs we see forming. Anthony Michael Hall's character, Tommy Doyle. This is another one of the strangest scenes in the movie I've seen in a long time. They're at like a bar, and they call it a talent show at one point.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
When you go to the bar, right? There's this couple. a doctor and a nurse, and they're dressed up like, sexy nurse or sexy doctor and all that stuff. It's Halloween night, and at one point people are being boisterous, and the husband says, "Hey, we're trying to watch a talent show," and it's 3 women on stage singing. So you think, okay, talent show, what? And then we see a real quick bit where there's a ventriloquist. So you're like, okay, talent show. But then Anthony Michael Hall gets up, and he does something really fucking weird. He doesn't display a talent. He talks about how he was the kid from the Halloween murders 40 years ago. And I thought, this is the saddest town in the world. Like, where I live, again, is a town very much like what I would think of Haddonfield. A lot of people who probably drink a little bit too much, like that kind of thing. And
is your talent sad stories?
Well, that's what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if I went to a talent show in this town and someone's like, remember when that guy got run over by that pickup truck in 82? Had his arms ripped off his body and they put him on backwards and he had to learn, that's me. I'm old backwards arms McGinty. Like, but like, did you just like tonally, this movie is so weird. Do you agree with me on that? Like, it feels like there's an episode of The Simpsons, and you're not a Simpsons fan, right, Stu?
For several seasons, yeah.
Okay.
Depends when you're talking.
So do you remember the episode called, and I read this on Twitter, so I'm not taking credit for this, but it snapped at me. Someone tweeted that Halloween Kills is like 22 short stories of Springfield, but the Haddonfield version. So 22 short stories of Springfield is like an early-ish, like maybe first 10 seasons episode of The Simpsons where it keeps hopping through different characters' lives.
Okay.
And that's what this movie is. Even if they're amusing, who gives a fuck about Big and Bigger Little John?
None of it connected at all. I totally agree with you. And in theory, this should be a stupid movie, but I just liked it.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. There's a lot going on in this movie. This is a movie that only runs an hour and 46 minutes, but when it ended, I would have bet money I had sat there for over 2 hours. Like, yeah. It feels like there's so much going on in this. And you say what you will. Big John and Little John was the high point of this movie.
Okay,
that's sad, though.
Sorry, Little John.
That's sad, though. I mean, real quick question, because they acted like it was very normal. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been trick-or-treating in many years, but is it normal for kids to break into your house and steal all your candy?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I mean, I would hope not. We don't get many trick-or-treaters, but
because there's a scene in this movie where Big John and Little John get kind of coerced out of their house by a couple kids, smart talking kids, and then they realize all of a sudden that the third kid went in the house and got all the candy, and he holds the bag up and he jokes about it. And I thought to myself, is this supposed to be a thing in the real world? Like do people do this? I don't know. I don't know 2021's candy etiquette, or if kids like actually break into people's houses. So I just had to ask about that. I don't know. Tonally, this movie's all over the place.
How many Halloweens have we had that have had moments of levity that they just gave you? I mean, this was a different movie. It knew that it was going to be very brutal. It knew that a lot of people were going to die, but it was like, don't worry, because we're also going to give you this old stoner couple who tell kids a scary story and then wander around their house talking about the knives that they have. We're going to let the air out of this balloon a little bit. It's something that we haven't really seen in Halloween before, so I was okay with it. If a Halloween movie wants to give me some laughs just so I know, like, all right, everything's not the end of the world, I get it, that's okay.
I was really invested in the doctor-nurse couple, though, just so you know. I have no idea why. And Rob was like, well, you're an idiot. You obviously knew they were going to die. I was really invested. I was like, all right, these two people are going to somehow make it to the end and become part of the... Nope.
No. Although the doctor or the nurse, the male character, the nurse, he does get maybe the best death in the whole thing. That looked really good when the knife up through the eye socket. I thought that was great. There are some... Look, again, I don't think Halloween, like especially the first one, is built on its gore, but I will say if you are a gore fan, there is definitely some stuff in this one. I mean, it's so fast you would miss it if you don't pay attention. But when the African American sheriff shows up to the Strode house, did you see like how there was like legless firefighter bodies like on the ground? Like he obviously spent a little bit more time than they showed, and it's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, like you said, this is a hyper violent, hyper crazy Michael Myers.
This isn't Hostel or like a Saw sequel or anything, but it's got to be up there with the Rob Zombie movies for the goriest Halloween, right?
Oh yeah, I mean Big John, he crushes his head and his eyeballs pop out, and then the boyfriend,
he obliterates the boyfriend.
Jesus Christ, I actually wanted him to stop. Like there was the scene where, so he has the boyfriend and he basically like puts him through a banister and then just keeps on like back and forth breaking his face and his head, and you're assuming he's broken his neck, and he comes down the stairs and he stops and he twists his neck and kills him. And I mean, I get it. The girlfriend, the Matichuk character, is like, no, and me and Lloyd were like, no, that's good for him. Like he is no longer like in the worst pain of all time because he was never going to walk or do anything ever again. Do you guys think that even with Halloween Ends coming out, Amanda, I'm going to ask you this. So we had Halloween 18 and we got Halloween Ends coming out. Now, a lot of people a couple years ago really gave those, I didn't see them, but they gave the Hobbit movies a lot of shit because it's one very short book, but they made 3 movies out of it. From what you've seen from the beginning of the first movie through this one, and assuming the end is going to be like, Laurie Strode's final battle with him, do you think this could have been 2 longer movies, or do you really think that we needed 3 to fill all this out?
Oh, we definitely don't need 3, but I will always take another Halloween movie is the thing. Okay. It doesn't matter how bad they are. I also don't believe it will actually end.
Well, I think this
timeline might end.
Yeah. Maybe Rob Zombie will remake the first one again differently. Somehow.
Jamie Lee might peace out and never come back, but yeah.
When do we get, we're 6 years away from being 20 years out of Rob Zombie's Halloween. Maybe we'll get Rob Zombie's H2O.
There you go. Hey, you know what? Anything's possible at this point. Anything's possible. This thing has made a lot of money. Its first weekend, it's already the highest grossing if we can call it post-COVID theatrical weekend. It made $50 million. And this is a movie that, unlike other movies like, say, Bond or some other things that might have come out, isn't available like Shang-Chi, not available like directly. This is available streaming. Pardon me. So like people still went out and saw this in droves. I've been to the movies. This is the 3rd time I've been to the movies since COVID has eased up. I guess you could say it's not over, but the first 2 times the theaters were fucking empty. We went the other night and it was Friday, so it was the opening night, like an 8:00 show. It was super packed. Did you guys see this in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think our theater was super packed, but
it was decently. It wasn't empty or anything.
I didn't know it was streaming. I didn't even have that option. Rob loves the movies, so he's like, we're going to the movies. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, we bailed on seeing the Suicide Squad in theaters. We saw that on streaming. But we have the movie thing with AMC where we can see 3 movies a week and we just pay a monthly fee. I was like, I'm going to go see this in the big screen. Why not?
Did you guys?
It wasn't nearly as full as like whenever we saw Shang-Chi.
Oh no, Shang-Chi was like bumper to bumper. Like
really?
Yeah.
Well, Marvel movie, so that's almost automatic. Another bit that I found to be a little bit annoying was there's a subplot about another escape patient. Because in Halloween 2018, the bus crashes and a bunch of people get out. But nobody seems to notice this guy possibly couldn't size-wise.
That's what I said. Like, he's like 5'4", maybe. Like, Myers is what, like 6'10"? Like,
yeah, he's built like the fucking Penguin in Batman. Like, he's 5'4", 250 pounds, and everyone's like, yeah, that's him. Let's get him.
He's
was in that mob scene though, like no one saw him except like one person who maybe just didn't know and was like, that's him, and they all just started running. I don't think like a lot of people had eyes on him. I think that's maybe what they were trying to do as an explanation, but
yeah, I feel bad because I think that I don't think I should have gone into a Halloween movie with like I didn't have high expectations. I didn't like the last one, but I just felt like so much ridiculous shit happened in this movie over and over again that I could never catch up, like, to possibly wanting to enjoy it. Like, honestly, the last, like, say 20 minutes, I was so ready to go home. And I know the thought I had before that I lost. Did you guys find it, like, just, it seemed like the movie drowned in it in the last half hour. But the conversations between Laurie and the Will Patton sheriff character.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't even know what they're talking about after a while. Like, I get it at first. It seems like
she was my least favorite part of the movie. Like, she was just the worst. It's like these monologues and
I had feelings for you. I had feelings for you, but you like Ben Tramer. And then there's the whole thing about like how they could have killed Michael back in 1978, but he stopped them, and that goes nowhere. That's a plot point that doesn't end up mattering at all.
So many things don't matter. So many things don't matter. Why did the second escape mental patient? Why did she lock him in a corridor?
Well, she was trying to keep him safe, but
but that's where literally everyone. Because she locked him between two completely huge glass doors where everybody could see him.
And they like a lot of people with Halloween 2, the original 81, people always say, well, it's so ridiculous because that hospital was so empty. They went the opposite way in this one, where they're like, let's get a hospital that is so fucking packed that it's packed to the gills. And then like little things like, I don't know, like would Allison, the granddaughter character, would she be able to like look into a room where there's a body on a table? I don't know. I mean, I just thought, this is a weird hospital. Haddonfield's a weird hospital.
Maybe they had COVID, and so everybody was just being jammed into wherever they could go.
That's very possible. I didn't know about
Haddonfield dealing with COVID that night.
That is very possible. But yeah,
ICU was full. You have to put the bodies in the hall.
Yeah, because that one lady, she's going through the hospital and she's like, "Where's my kid? Where's my kid?" And then she just looks through a window,
sees his dead body,
and sees his mutilated face. It's like, try harder, hospital. Come on, put a towel over that or something.
Lonnie is a character in this film.
Lonnie, who we know from 1978 being called an asshole by Dr. Loomis.
Lonnie, you asshole! Get away from those bushes! Like, so we have a character who literally gets like the one little moment, right? And now he's a main character in the film, and I'm fine with that. But I don't know. Did you think his whole story arc
past in this movie too, where all of a sudden he as a kid had an encounter with Michael Myers that night back in 78?
Exactly.
We never saw before.
Exactly. It's all this that flashback bothered me to no end, because it was between like the little changes it made to the story and the amount of fan service. Like I did laugh at this one line, but in the back, it's like when the cops are talking, one of the like deputies comes up and says, "Somebody said Loomis shot him a bunch of times," and I was like, 6 times, motherfucker. But unfortunately, we're never gonna be able to hear that, because that actually he says that in Halloween 2. But I thought that was a nice little wink to that. Yeah, Lonnie almost gets murdered by Michael Myers. And also in the original movie, maybe I'm wrong because I haven't seen it in a long time, isn't Lonnie like a bully dickhead character? Yet in this movie, he's being bullied by other kids, or am I wrong about that?
I don't remember that. I just remember he wants to go up to the house and Dr. Loomis calls him an asshole and then looks real proud of himself about it. Okay. I don't remember him being it's entirely possible.
I could be totally wrong about that. That could be something I'm just totally wrong about. So did this movie, after 2 of them, and we'll rate this at the end, but did this movie like really get you going for Ends? Like, are you psyched for Ends, or are you just like, hey, me and Rob will go to the movies, it'll be a good time, and I hope to see Michael Myers kill some more people?
I am, but you know what? Maybe I'm an easy mark because I loved all the little fan service things. Like, I just loved them. And like when they killed the doctor nurse combo, though, there was like a mask, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to do the thing with the 3 masks. And then I was like, look, Rob, they did the thing with it. Like, I totally just in the movie theater talked, and I was like, it's the 3 masks. It's the witch, the skull, and the pumpkin.
The pumpkin even had the chip on the back. If you looked at it,
did it? I didn't notice.
It did.
That's what I mean. I think the pumpkin was maybe the first one I saw. I can't remember, but I was like, wait, is that the mask? And then I saw the other, and I was like, yes. I'm easy.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's why Stu sent me a text earlier this week that just made me laugh, because this movie is, even amongst like I think the hardcore fans, kind of getting some shit. I'm sure there are people that love it, like hardcore fan wise. But Stu sent me a text that Amanda's very disappointed in you for not liking Halloween Kills, and I said she's going to be very disappointed in a lot of people because
I know, I'm surprised at how many people didn't like it. I mean, if I had to pick between this and the original Halloween, and I could only watch one forever and ever, I would watch the original Halloween. But you know what? I didn't even know there was no blood in the original Halloween until we just watched a documentary on it. I was like, holy shit, yeah, there is no blood.
Yeah, like, the movies that made us came out with a Halloween we watched, and they talk about that. Yeah,
and then
I saw it, yeah.
Commented on this after we left. I was like, that was very gory. Like, so my brain picked up on, like, that was off-brand for the Halloween franchise. Like, it was very gory. But I didn't put. I just figured, you got to up the ante. It's 2021. People are vultures.
Yeah, that is true. Stu, are you excited for Halloween Ends?
No, and I didn't hate this movie, and Amanda's gotten sick of hearing about this, but my problem with this movie was, especially in the second and third acts, they spend so much time building something with the Karen character. She's in the hospital, she's trying to save that guy, and she fails. And you just see how much her failure to save that other patient's life destroys her. And her daughter's out with all this madness going on. And so the movie builds to this point where she goes out with the mob and she lures Michael Myers into the mob. This whole mob that she's been against from the word go. She does not agree with these people, but she lures Michael to them, lets them beat the shit out of him. And then very thematically, she picks up his knife, the knife that he has used to kill all these people, and she stabs him. And then she goes to his goddamn house and starts looking out his window. And I'm like, oh shit, movie. I am here for this if you make Judy Greer the Shape in the third movie. If that's where
I would not have been there for that.
No, that would have been, it would have been different.
I don't know why you thought that. No part of my brain thought that was
That's 100% where I thought that was going. And then the movie ends with Michael Myers just teleporting into his house, even though there's a fucking mob right outside, and he stabs Judy Greer to death. And I was like, oh, so Halloween Ends is just going to be another one of this, huh?
No,
do you think this? Oh, go ahead,
mob,
Amanda.
The monster only has power because the mob gives the monster power. Again, that was a really political, preachy sort of thing too. Like it was,
yeah.
But
I don't know. I wanted Judy Greer to go.
Why?
I wanted something to happen to her because Judy Greer is awesome, and I think she could pull it off.
You're not her supervisor.
You're not in charge of Judy Greer today, Stu. The end of this movie, essentially, after much back and forth, where he just keeps killing and going back to his house, and at one point he even apparently kills Little John and Big John. And he puts a record on. I didn't know that he had that capability, but this is a guy that also can drive.
He can drive.
Right, he can drive. So he puts a record on. So now, after all this time, he gets shot through the movie. He gets stabbed. There's one point where Judy Greer gives him a gut shot, and you're like, oh fuck, she's gonna have hurt him, and it doesn't really hurt him. The mob finally gets a hold of him. They get him on the ground and they fucking beat the hell out of him. Right, they're shooting at him. They're fucking slamming him with baseball bats. Anthony Michael Hall's character, who I also told Lloyd I cannot wait till they kill him because he was annoying me so badly.
He was real bad. Yeah, he was real annoying.
The evil dies tonight thing, which has become like a Twitter hashtag and has taken on a life of its own, was maybe the worst part of this movie because it just maybe once or twice I would have gotten it. But when you have these people just repeatedly saying it, there's a scene where he's leaving the hospital, Anthony Michael Hall. He's like, I don't remember what it is, but he's like, the real Michael's down on, whatever avenue. He's running out the hall and he turns around and he goes, evil dies tonight. It's like, come on, man.
We've heard.
He's branding himself.
He's brand. Yeah. Like you said, I haven't seen it yet. But somebody should make the red hat with "Evil Dies Tonight" across. And I never thought about that, but that's very.
Next movie will be Make Evil Great Again.
Make Evil Great Again. Miga. But so they kick the fuck out of him. Judy Greer stabs him in the back of the neck, kill shot, spinal cord ruptured, all that stuff. They pop him a few times. I think he is dead. We know he's not dead as audience members, but he is dead. He does the old Hulk Hogan 2 arms down, 1 arm up move. And then he kills everybody in the street, including
they remember to read their firefighter How to Fight in a Straight Line 1 at a time guide for the second half of the fight.
Nobody does what they just did when they beat him the first time and gang up on him. They're like, okay, let's do this one at a time. It's very much the Jackie Chan movie, where the bad guys don't all gang up on Jackie Chan. They're like, okay, I'll go next. Oh, he killed 15 guys. I'll go next. And he beats the fuck out of everybody and slips off into the night. Laurie Strode doesn't know it, but her daughter's been killed. Her granddaughter's all fucked up, broken leg, boyfriend murdered. Heavy ending of I'll see you, Michael, soon. I'm coming for you. And the movie ends. I don't know, man. This, I don't know. I want to rate this movie.
I'm not mad at you, movie. I'm just disappointed in you.
I'm not even disappointed because I really didn't expect much of this movie. But I truly didn't expect it to be kind of as goofy as I felt it was. That's a good word, I think.
It was every horror trope too. Like it was every horror trope. The Michael Myers moving like a snail and the woman running as fast as she can and falling down and turning around and he's right there. Like that's all the horror tropes. The Big John or Little John, whichever one got killed first, and then the boyfriend goes upstairs or the husband, I think it might have been his husband, but he's like, "Oh, Michael, you're here." Like, why would you do that? Why would you talk to him? Would you not? If Rob goes upstairs and I think there's a murderer in the house and I hear commotion, I'm leaving. I'm abandoning his happy ass. Like, so sad. Or like the couple, the drone couple, he's like, there's a monster man and what does he want? And they stand around and get killed. It was every goddamn horror trope and I was living for it. I don't know. It was like the reverse Scream.
Yeah. I think I said that like 25 years after Scream lampooned all these stupid tropes. This movie's like, we still like these tropes though, right?
Everyone, every single one. It checked them all off the box.
So before we get a number rating, Stu, I want to know, because, you know, you do love these movies, and we talked about it in the last episode and other things we've done. I'm sure you have your ranking. I'm sure you've had an article I probably read. I just don't remember it. So even without the number rating, does Halloween Kills fall in the top half of your Halloween movies, middle, or is this towards the bottom, which what I assume from discussions we've had on two shows would include Halloween 2 and Halloween Resurrection? Would that be closer to those, closer to the middle, or are you're not putting this towards the top, right?
I have it in the middle. I know that you really hated it, and I know we've sat here and trashed it because it is a ridiculous movie, but I enjoyed it well enough. It's nowhere near as bad for me as Resurrection, the two Rob Zombies. I think this is better than 2018. Nothing in it pissed me off as much as what happened in 2018, so I still think it's an upgrade from there. But at the same time, it's not as good as the original. It's not as good as 4H2O, the original Halloween 2. So I kind of put it like in between Halloween 5 and Halloween 2 and like Halloween 6. It's like right in the middle.
So you know it, Stu. I don't know if Amanda knows, but we rate everything here on a 0 to 5 scale, quarter scale, half scale, optional. So ladies first. Amanda, I know you liked it, so and I'm fine with that. I respect and appreciate your opinion. What do you give 2021's Halloween Kills?
I mean, I will give it a 3. I will give it a solid average. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again. It'll come on TV some Halloween and I will watch it again. I wouldn't go back to the theater to watch it, but I would definitely give it a 3. You're rating like the number one, the original was a 5 because that was an amazing horror film, but yeah, I'll give it a 3. There were no white horses in it, so I mean.
I was actually going to say that as part of my ratings.
Yeah, we walked out too. We were like, man, there should have been a horse. They just needed to put a horse in that. Just.
You know, Stu, on last episode, you said that in part of your rating, I think. When we talked about Resurrection, you're like, there was no unicorn in it, so. All right, I'll go next because maybe I can cut the difference. The night we went, I went with the Manster. I went with Chris Frodell, our buddy from Arguing with Myself, and his wife Melanie. And Melanie was very much like you, Amanda. She really enjoyed it, and I think she also said she liked it more than the last one. She gave it a 3, so there you go. I'm going to put their ratings out there. Chris gave it a 2. Chris is not a horror guy, but he said he gave it a 2. Manster gave it 1 3/4. And
we're doing three quarters. Okay,
1 3/4. He gave it 1.75, and I give it a 1.25, a 1 1/4. I truly, it was nice to get out. It was nice to see friends. It was nice for me not to be at work. It was nice to sit down and have some snacks and have that reclining seat and see some trailers. But I had a hard time thinking of a big budget like studio movie that I wanted to leave harder in like at least 10 or 15 years. Like we joke around on the show and everything, but literally I wasn't kidding when I said when the flashback ended and it ended with that really over the top, I'm the Huggins, did Michael kill again? Did he kill again? I went
part of the whole damn movie.
I have fun with it, I have fun with it, but I thought, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes I have to also think about like what I'm watching, and I get it. I'm not trying to assign like, something like, I don't know, like Gandhi or Chariots of Fire level, ideals to a Halloween movie. But I don't know. I just felt like they really dragged the bottom of this one. I feel bad for Rob Zombie kind of, because he really gets humped by people for his 2 movies. And I find his 2 movies way more enjoyable than these last 2. And I get it. I know that's not a popular opinion, but like Stu said on the last episode, you got some good performances in those. If you are going to go for like the gore, like the first one, the first half of the movie is wholly unnecessary because we don't need to know why Michael Myers is the way he is. But once they get
naughty kid Michael Myers,
right. But once we get to that second half where it essentially becomes a remake of the first movie, it's pretty fucking solid. It's more of an early 2000s like violent horror fest, but it's pretty solid. But yeah, I don't know. Rob Zombie gets a lot of shit for his movies, and I'm wondering in like 3 or 4 years if when Ends comes out, if these ones are going to be looked at. Because I know for sure Kills is kind of getting beaten up a lot, but I know Halloween 2018 is very split. Like I talk to people that think it's garbage, which I kind of sit with, and I talk to people that love it, that absolutely love that movie. So Stu, what do you give this?
I'm going to say 2.75. It's a little bit above average. I really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was completely fine to watch. Like I said, like Amanda said, there was no white horse. There was no Busta Rhymes spin-kicking Michael Myers. So, I mean, the Halloween movies have done worse. There's no Dr. Sartan just, haha, I'm evil now.
Well, we did see Dr. Sartan's body.
We did.
Yeah,
but his heel turn already happened. That was the worst thing that's happened in this timeline. It was a perfectly enjoyable movie. It wasn't good, but like I said, as far as Halloween movies go, it's right in the middle. There's definitely been worse. The Cult of the Thorn with Paul Rudd is worse. It's,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was terrible.
I forgot about that. I'm sure he's told you last October, my mother was with us for a while and she we watched every one and yeah.
Yeah. The Paul Rudd one is not good.
And I was like, I don't know that I have ever seen this. And I'm like, I'm sure I've seen it because I've seen every one. But I was like, it must have been so bad I blocked it out completely. I didn't remember it at all.
I think that one, if I'm correct, I think he filmed it before Clueless, but it came out after Clueless, and they tried to kind of jump on his like sudden stardom, but yeah, that movie is no good. No good at all. Did you guys notice? I wanted to ask this because I thought this was interesting. Maybe it was just me, but I do remember one of the things about 2018 Halloween was how much I hated the boyfriend character because he turns out to be a real douchebag. Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately for Allison, the chubby kid turns out to be rapey. So she's got no luck. But did you think that like they had to, it almost felt to me the way this movie began with the boyfriend walking home and finding the cop and helping the cop. Did you think they rewrote his character to make him sympathetic? Or do you think that was like probably a plan all along? I almost felt like they probably got so many people saying, I hated that fucking kid. And they're like, oh, we got to kind of make him likable if he's going to be in this movie. And the first thing he does is he saves the cop. And as I'm watching, I just thought, that's interesting writing choice if that's why they did it. Did you feel that way? Did you think they're making this kid a better character in this one?
Yeah, I thought that. I thought it was quick. Like she was quick to forgive him, but also people were just getting murdered. So, you got to just get any port in a storm. But I don't know that there was a lot of planning in this movie in general. So I don't know if that was their plan. But
I think they knew they were going to kill him and they wanted to kind of go for the switch where in the first movie, he survived. And you were like, how'd they not kill that character? That character deserved it. And in this movie, they kind of wanted you to let your guard down and, forget how shitty he was in the first movie and be like, well, yeah, like he cheated on her and he was shitty to her. But if he saves her from a murderer, that kind of balances out.
Right.
And then he dies and maybe you feel a little redemption for him. Maybe they just didn't want everyone to cheer in the theater when he died.
Really, I remember at the end of the last one, kind of the way he treats her and all, he's just a real
bad.
He's a douche canoe. And you're like, man, I wanted that kid to die and he survived. But then when he dies in this one, like, even though I was like checked out of the movie, I was like, man, this kid's really getting the shit killed out of him. And I feel bad because it was so brutal.
Redemption.
Yeah. So here are the things we've learned tonight on Pint of Comics. Make evil great again. Will be happening very soon. Amanda enjoyed it. Stu and I are on different levels of enjoyment. Amanda loved the let's do it one more time. Amanda, do it. Just do it for us. The line.
Michael, did you kill again? I don't even think that's exactly what he said, but that's what it was in my brain. And I said that for like an hour.
I think what he said was, Officer Hawkins, did Michael kill again? But what you're getting totally right is not again. Again! Yeah. And yeah, to throw that out there one more time in case you've seen this movie and you didn't know this, because I think the next day, like when I made a tweet about this movie, I said something about stupid CGI Loomis. It is a guy. This guy is now, I saw him, like there's some, maybe it's Monster Mania in New Jersey, but there's some horror convention that he's going to be at, and they use the picture from the movie. So I'm assuming he just might be a Donald Pleasance lookalike that, hey, he fell into some good stuff. So Stu, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on, and we're going to be doing very soon an episode with you. I'm not going to tell everybody what it is right now, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Do you have your list ready? It's a list episode.
I do. It's in my phone. All
right. We're going to have that. That'll be done very soon. Stu, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you and all of your fun stuff?
Yeah, on the interwebs, it's the swoproductions.com. No, I don't know why I said just swoproductions.com. On Twitter at swoproductions, and the podcast, which you can find on all the podcatching apps, is the Stu World Order podcast.
Stu, could you do me a favor? Stu,
no.
Could you tell everybody out there the words that make Pine Comics go away again?
See you
next Tuesday.
I get that.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.